Government's growth agenda in high gear. Alpart bauxite and alumina plant to reopen soon with major investments in additional plant, factory and agriculture to follow, plus hundreds of jobs to be created.
GISCO has very ambitious plans for Jamaica, and we want this to be a true and genuine partnership between GISCO and the government and people of Jamaica.
And the World Bank is giving its approval.
The reopening of this plant is a sign of resilience, which is one of the features that the Jamaican economy wants to develop.
Hello, I'm Adrian Atkinson. So glad you could join us for today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Other developments are set to take place across the island, so stay tuned to Jamaica Magazine as we give you the update on economic developments as they happen. We make way now for the news of the day.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya and dengue viruses. Protect yourself from the bite of this mosquito. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh and this is your JIS News for Thursday, June 8. Additional funding in the amount of $1.3 billion is being allocated to the Cornwall Regional Hospital Recovery Project for the 2017-2018 fiscal year. Cabinet has approved that sum along with another preliminary projection of $189 million for 2018-2019.
It also approved for major capital expenditures on other hospitals in the sum of $619 million for fiscal year 2017-2018 and $126 million for the next financial year 2018-2019.
Information Minister Ruel Reid was speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing. In March, government announced plans to overhaul the Cornwall Regional Hospital's ventilation system, which had caused a halt in clinic and outpatient services. Government will be allocating an additional $100 million to assist farmers who were affected by the recent rains. The Agriculture Ministry estimates that the April-May rains caused damage to the sector amounting to nearly $800 million. Portfolio Minister Carl Samuda says this newest allocation of funds will complement the $18 million previously given to the affected farmers. Minister Samuda is urging major organizations to come on board and assist the farmers to aid in the sector's full recovery.
It is sincerely hoped that with the support of everyone, holding hands in partnership, we can make these funds be spent in a manner that will redound to the benefit of as many people affected as possible.
The minister was speaking at the launch of the Denbigh Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show at Hypro in White Marl, St. Catherine on Wednesday. The government commissioned a 9-member enterprise team set up to manage waste to energy and garbage collection on the island is far advanced in its work. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement on Wednesday at the LASCO Relief Environmental Awareness Program REAP Awards ceremony.
A report will be ready very soon by a consultant who is examining the options for Jamaica. And I'm hoping that very soon, I would say before the year is out, we will start on a program of having a total transformation on how we collect and manage and create a cycle of use for waste in Jamaica.
The Littleton Shirley chaired enterprise team was formed in October 2016 and is charged with looking at options for waste to energy. The team will also streamline the business of waste management and collection. The Prime Minister, meanwhile, has given his government's commitment to expanding environmental awareness programs in schools across the island. While lauding the LASCO REAP program for engaging primary school children in environmental protection, Mr. Holness says the state will continue to carry out garbage separation projects and other awareness-building initiatives. He says that in order for Jamaica to experience sustainable growth, protecting the environment must be embedded in the minds of the nation's children.
We have to ensure that all our children become guardians of our environment. If we can get them to appreciate that they have a responsibility, then they will school their parents. They can become the agent for change in their household.
Since its inception in 2012, the REAP program has planted 15,000 trees and collected over 2 million plastic bottles. A new coroner's court and special coroner's court will be open for sessions on Monday. The two courts are housed in a new building located at 119A Maxfield Avenue in St. Andrew. It was officially handed over to the judiciary yesterday. The courts were closed since December 2015 when fire destroyed the previous building. The new courts were built at a cost of over $22.7 million. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck says the relocation of the courts to the new location is part of the ministry's thrust to modernize the physical infrastructure of all justice institutions.
In these courthouses, we will be able to capture visually and audio everything that is happening in the courts, so that not only that, we may have internet facility so that the Chief Justice can stay in her office and view what is happening in 70-odd courts.
Close to $350 million will be used this year to repair and maintain the island's courts. A further $267 million will be spent for the construction and implementation of the Justice Sector Reform Program, which addresses infrastructure development. And finally, none of the inmates housed at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center were injured in a fire that occurred at the facility yesterday. The Department of Correctional Services says a correctional officer suffered mild smoke inhalation as a result of the fire which broke out at a section of the center. The Jamaica Fire Brigade is still investigating the cause of the fire and an estimate of the loss. The Department of Correctional Services has extended commendations to the Rollington Town Fire Station for the quick response and to the staff of the institution for their vigilance. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
This is one time we don't want you to laugh.
Staying safe on the road is a serious thing.
Mr. Taxi driver and bus driver, take time, man. People, so one-stop driver and come off.
Cyclists, motorcyclists, pedestrian, all road users using the head.
Only if you use cell phone and drive. No, man.
Idiot thing that.
Road safety is no laughing matter.
Because we want you to be around
and laughing with us for a long time.
A message from the National Road Safety Council and National Health Fund.
In mid-April, there were 94 road crashes resulting in over 100 fatalities, and that number has increased since. You know what the common factor was? Speeding. So we implore drivers to slow down, drive within the speed limit, and look out for pedestrians. Oh, another thing. Always wear your seatbelt and make sure children are buckled up. That safety feature was installed to not only help save lives, but also to minimize the impact from crashes. We now look at other measures that will ensure the safety of our children on the road.
Life in any form is a gift too precious to measure. The birth of brand new possibilities and exciting potential for whatever. For those at the early stages of this journey, it is expected that the ones who are older, those in positions of guardianship, will take the steps necessary to ensure their safety in all areas, not least of all as they travel from one destination to another.
I think every single adult who is a driver has a tremendous responsibility, not only for the safety of children, but the safety of other drivers, pedestrians. Driving comes with a tremendous responsibility, and it's up to you to remain alert, particularly when it comes to children. We are their guardians.
Children are among our most vulnerable road users. It's why the Ministry of Transport and Works, and particularly the Road Safety Unit, has spent time coming up with measures to ensure that the traffic environment for them is as safe as possible.
The law comes down very heavily on the side of children when we act irresponsibly, and as a result they are injured.
Laws like the Road Traffic Act, the Child Care and Protection Act, and the Protective Devices legislation speak to the issue in some way.
I want drivers to stop when I am at the pedestrian crossing.
Drivers who ignore the prompting of a traffic warden to stop before reaching the place where children are crossing or seeking to cross, or who put the vehicle in motion before the children have completely crossed the road, commit an offense under the Road Traffic Act.
Did you know that the Road Traffic Act makes it an offense for you to transport a child in your vehicle without the proper restraints? Breaching this law could place you before a resident magistrate facing a fine upon conviction.
Daddy, you remember I don't put on my seatbelt yet?
Oh yes. Sorry about that, I'm kind of distracted here. Ready?
Daddy, want to your seatbelt?
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
A child should never be moving in a moving vehicle. They should be completely still. They should be seated, because the car can come to a sudden stop and they will get hurt. If the child is under 5 years of age, then they need to be in their car seat or booster. If the child is a little bigger than a car seat, then there are boosters provided that the children should occupy. You should ensure that the car safe lock is on, that the windows are turned up, or at least even if the windows have to be down, that the children are not exposing their hands, their heads, any parts of their body outside of the car, because that is extremely dangerous. You have to be focused fully on the road, both eyes fully engaged ahead of you. There are times when you might feel sleepy because you're on a long journey. You have not rested well the previous night. There are things that you can do. You make use of rest stops. If you start feeling a little drowsy, you get out of the car, stop the car, get out of the car, and get some fresh air that usually wakes you up. And make sure that you're properly hydrated, and Lucozade can help you to be.
Drivers need to slow down in front of schools.
Legislation is being drafted to designate certain areas as school zones, where motorists will be required to cut their speed during specified time frames. That's just one of several measures being tackled to ensure that children are protected as part of the Road Safety Unit's aggressive move to enforce the National Road Safety Policy. The unit also plans to deliver the road safety message to at least 130 primary schools every year, with intentions to roll out the initiative in secondary and tertiary institutions. And there are plans to ensure that road safety is entrenched in the curriculum of secondary schools. The Ministry of Transport and Works is also doing its part to ensure that pedestrian crossings are maintained, sidewalks are provided, and appropriate signs are installed, including at designated school zones.
I think parents really need to ensure that children are trained as to how to cross the road. Invariably, accidents do happen. I mean, it's likely that a child who is learning to ride a bicycle is going to fall at some point, and you want to ensure that you minimize the risk of injuries and severe injuries when they fall. And if a child falls and hits their head, then they're going to be up for major injuries, and it could be fatal. So you certainly want to avoid that risk. They would need to make sure that they have helmets. That is crucial. Knee pads, elbow pads, ensure that there are proper reflectors, lights on the bicycle, that kind of thing. I'm sure that you would want to confine them into an area that is not heavily trafficked.
The Road Safety Unit wants more of us to support the effort to eliminate fatal traffic collisions, starting with reducing the number to below 300 in any given year.
How come you disobey road signs and you want children to obey you, the parents?
Listen, the traffic environment can be a scary place, even for us adults. Just imagine what it must be like for your son or daughter, or your neighbor's son or daughter. Pay a little bit more attention as you go about your business on our roads, and ensure that the safety of all our children is your business all the time. I'm Alison Watson, and this has been another in our Road Scholars series, making smart road users of us all.
They were heading home, playing in the streets just like they always did, when
I'll see you again.
My name is Sheldon Bell. I barely survived. My friend, she didn't. I'm now much more careful on the road. You should be too.
330 Jamaicans died in road crashes in 2014. 99 of the deceased were pedestrians. Road users, obey road rules. Walk, drive, and ride with care. Remember, road safety begins with you.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Every year during the hurricane season, persons are reminded to make sure they stock up on essential items and set them aside in the event that we are affected. But how much do people know about what should be included in this kit? Follow me, Outer Road, for some answers.
Food, water, because you know water get contaminated during this time and so forth.
try at least to get at least the minimum of stuff that you can get for it to last you at least a week.
One of the things I would look at is like a generator. Get that ready, because you know when hurricane hits, no power.
Hurricane season coming up, you got to have like food, flashlight, batteries, and all those stuff. Those are really necessary.
Candles, medication, you have like personal, you have to have that, batteries, you know, and important documents.
Candles and batteries for your flashlight and those stuff, and if you have a radio, that'll be a good, because you know, your battery will be good for your radio so you can keep up with the news.
Flashlight, battery, water containers to store water, canned food, medical supplies, because if you're sick, you know, you have a certain illness, you should make sure you have enough medication.
When hurricane season, well, like people prepare like them food, them matches, them lamp, them kerosene oil.
Get legal advice for free. Yes, free! From the Mobile Justice Unit. The Mobile Justice Unit makes scheduled stops in towns across the country, and the unit is open for stops at community meetings and school expos. Get free consultation on matters to do with land, immigration, divorce, job redundancy or termination, custody and maintenance. The Mobile Justice Unit, providing access to timely justice outcomes. To request a visit, contact the Legal Aid Council, 131 Tower Street, downtown Kingston, or call them at 922-3761.
Up next, what to look out for in a hurricane and the number to call for updates.
The impacts from tropical storms and hurricanes are not limited to coastal areas. When we speak about hurricanes, we seem to think that they are the hazard. But in my opinion, I haven't heard many people say this, but my opinion is a hurricane is a complexity of hazards, and there are actually 4 separate hazards that would affect us here in Jamaica. One of them is the very strong winds that we could encounter. The second is the very heavy rainfall. The third is the landslide effect that we would also experience quite often in Jamaica. And the fourth of these is the coastal flooding or the storm surge flooding, which is something that we tend to ignore quite often as we look into the hurricane season. And all 4 will actually impact on different areas of the country in different ways. Of course, the storm surge hazard would affect the coastline areas, but stronger winds would normally be experienced in higher elevations. So on the interior of the island where we have the hills, that's where we expect the winds to be more intense. We just want to add a reminder here that 116 is the number to remember during the hurricane season. 116. You can dial that number from any landline or any cellular telephone, but 116 is the number to call to get the latest update on the hurricane, any kind of news release that has been issued, the updates on hurricane activity. So we would ensure that that is updated. Rest assured that the Meteorological Service is monitoring. We monitor 24 hours per day and every day of the year, not just in the hurricane season. But in this season, of course, there's a greater alertness to any development that takes place in the Caribbean region, the Gulf of Mexico, North Atlantic Ocean. And so we are prepared. We have the experience, we have the expertise, we have the equipment to ensure that Jamaicans are kept abreast of what is happening.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
is dawning, it's time to arise. We are the gene of achievement and pride.
Bold new beginning, time for action. We have the spirit to fight on.
This is Jamaica, this is our land. We have our future with God in our plan. We'll play our part building this great nation. This is Jamaica, this is our land.
Let us make every effort to forge unity and resolve to work hard for our prosperity.
Leaving our children a legacy of hope, breaking the shackles and smashing the yoke. This is Jamaica, this is our land. This is our we have our future with God in our plan. We'll play our part building this great nation. This is Jamaica, this
Let me hear the children say.
This is Jamaica, this is our land. We have a future with God in our plan. We'll play our part building this great nation. This is Jamaica. Come on, everybody, let's sing. This is Jamaica, this is our land. We have our future with God in our plan. We'll play our part building this great nation. This is Jamaica, this is our land.
Jamaica, together we can.
We urge you not to be caught off guard during this hurricane season. Once an evacuation notice is given, please take heed. Another program will be on tomorrow on this station, so join us. But you don't have to wait until then. Just click on our website, jis.gov.jm. So log on and stay connected. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.